Let's talk about running backs, specifically the Oregon freshman running backs, Seven McGee and Byron Cardwell. Why is everybody so excited about them? Well, it starts with the fact that they're making some noise here in Eugene during fall camp. The way I want to start things out, we got to talk to running backs coach Jim Mastro last week about his group, get some thoughts on their development here in fall camp so far. We're about at the halfway mark, so that's kind of what I wanted to start off here with. Talking with Mastro a little bit about the recruiting background and some of the strategy that goes into recruiting that position. And one of the focal points of this conversation that I have with Mastro was just that he really wanted Byron Cardwell. So much so that they bent the rules a little bit for themselves when it comes to how they usually recruit the running back position. They usually just take one back per cycle, but here in this 2021 class with McGee and Cardwell, they took two. And that comes back to Mastro saying that those two, Seven McGee and Byron Cardwell, are elite athletes for freshmen. So that was kind of what Mastro came to the table with when he was talking to Mario Cristobal about this 2021 class. He was like, I know we usually only take one, but this guy's special, and maybe we can just bend it a little bit and take two this cycle. So that's a little bit of cool recruiting background there. And then Mastro talking a little bit about their progress here so far in Eugene, and he was saying, hey, they are what we thought they were. That more or less they look the part. It's all about getting them reps now, getting them up to speed, adjusting to the college game. There's just so many different parts. I feel like any position you can say that in high school you really excelled off of talent, but there's so many more technical points, so much more when it comes to fundamentals. Pass blocking, pass protection is a huge part of the game for Jim Mastro and his running backs. If his guys can't block for the quarterback, they're not going to see the field. And another interesting part from our conversation with Mastro is he was just telling us that, with this group that they have in place, CJ Verdell, Travis Dye, Seven McGee, Byron Cardwell, Trey Benson, Aaron Smith, the freshman walk-on from San Jose, this is the best depth that they've had at Oregon since he's been here, which is some pretty big words coming from Mastro there. When you talk about Oregon and kind of how people look at them from an image standpoint, they think about the flashy offense, and running back has always been a position of interest, an electric guy that can make plays, and Seven McGee and Byron Cardwell both certainly fit the billing there. And then now I kind of want to just focus on, these two players individually. Let's start with Seven McGee. He's listed on the Oregon roster at 5'9", 181. So definitely on the smaller side there as far as his weight goes. But CJ Verdell is 5'9", and he's pushing around 200 pounds now, right around that range. So most NFL backs, they're closer to 200 if not more in football today. But I think when you're at college, you can really utilize different body types, which is something that makes the game really fun to watch. But Seven McGee, he's looking like he's battling for that number 3 spot right now on the organizational chart, but he has been getting some work with the 1s and 2s. He told us Thursday in practice, or following practice, I should say. And he kind of has a skill set similar to Travis Dye, just a do it all kind of player, someone who can catch the ball really well, out of the backfield, and has some serious burst. I mean, this guy, watching his highlights before I came on and recorded this, he was sidestepping guys really well, high stepping to set himself up with jukes, and it's just hard to bring him down. He's all over the place, and he's a spark plug. When I'm watching him and in practice, particularly, we get to watch a lot of these agility drills, blocking drills. He just glides. He's so light on his feet. He changes direction just super swiftly, like it's just nothing. And I think that's really fun to see when you're looking at a running back, and when you think about the potential and how Joe Moorhead likes to use his running backs coming out of the backfield, and it's certainly cool to see. And then a lot of the story when we're talking about Seven McGee kind of over the course of this past week has been the big hit he took from Justin Flo during the first scrimmage of fall camp. I was in the stands at Autzen, and you definitely heard some oohs when you saw that hit. But we asked him about it yesterday, and he was, saying that it was kind of a welcome to football moment, and it was kind of a wake up moment for him. And then he was glad that Flo did that, because you want your teammates when you get to college to bring it. You don't want these guys going easy on you. And, that just goes to reinforce the point of competition that we've heard from players and staff throughout fall camp so far. And then when we're looking at Seven, and kind of his story. I think a big part of what makes it so interesting is that the Ducks have been a legitimate dream school for him for the longest time. For people who follow recruiting, this is a guy who committed to Oregon a long, long time ago. So it's something that a place he's wanted to be for quite some time. He talked about how when he was younger, he was watching guys like Marcus Mariota and DeAnthony Thomas, someone he's been compared to quite a bit when they were here. And, he said that they, came up short in the national championship. Obviously, Mariota's last year, they fell to Ohio State. And Seven was saying that he wanted to recreate the culture and kind of just pick up where they left off and, obviously, hopefully finish the job this time. So that's definitely something that I think people are going to get excited about. This guy's head's in the right place. And that he really has the passion for the Ducks, even though he's only been here for a short time. And then there's also been a lot of talk about him as far as, how he's going to be used in the offense, doing some slot work. When you see him in high school, he does stuff from the wildcat, from the traditional running back. He gets flexed out sometimes. Special teams as well. We saw him doing some special teams work, but for now, he said he's focused on learning the running back role and he's hoping for some slot work maybe down the line. But I think one thing he said that really just sums it all up really well was just put me anywhere and get me the ball, man. Like he's just a playmaker. So that's what my piece on Seven McGee as far as why people are excited about him. Let's shift gears now to the other freshman running back, Byron Carwell. The San Diego native is listed at 6 foot, 210 pounds on the Oregon roster. So a little bit of a thunder and lightning component, if you want to look at it like that. Mastro talking about what he brings to the table, saying that he is big and powerful and that he hasn't figured out his body yet, but when he does, it's going to be endless. And you talk about figuring out your body. I know that, he's in a serious, strength and conditioning program with Aaron Feld. I know they take nutrition very seriously at Oregon. We can see all of that, with watching the players' vlogs on YouTube, how they have the whole food lineup. And I even see people at the store, with these athletes, the nutritionist kind of, helping them go through, their checklist and make sure that they're staying, on a good plan. But with regard to learning his body, this is a guy I think when you're looking at him, kind of going back to that elite athletes for freshmen that Mastro was talking about. When I was watching his highlights, he's a guy who's a big back, but he has that top end speed. Sure, he's not going to get to it maybe as fast as McGee is going to, but I was watching his film and he had a 60-yard hook and ladder play when he was at St. Augustine for a touchdown. He also had a 75-yard pick six when he was getting some work in at safety. So when you look at those plays and hear those words, you kind of just, it helps put you in the, in the feet of, or in the place of these coaches as far as what they have to work with. And then obviously from the fan perspective, why people are so excited and psyched up about what these guys bring to the table. But for now, what Carwell is working on for this season, he was saying yesterday that he wants to know what I do best and work on that. So in the eyes of Mastro, it's a big and powerful guy. So if he's in those third and short situations, those goal line situations, he's just looking to maybe make his mark there is kind of what I would take away from that. And learning from how the older guys practice. A lot of people want these really highly touted guys to get in as freshmen, and maybe that'll happen. But the reality of the situation is there is a loaded running back room here at Oregon for the Ducks. So he's been looking and trying to learn how the older guys practice, like CJ and Travis, watching how they pay attention to their nutrition, like I was just mentioning, watching how they go through their practice drills and how they carry themselves outside of football. Just soaking in all that knowledge is going to be so valuable for them when they maybe have a little bit better of a shot at grabbing some snaps for this Oregon offense. And he said, as far as what he wants to get out of this year, or kind of what he wants to bring to the table, is he wants to provide a spark for the offense, whether that be next season when he has a bigger role or this year right now. He's very in the moment and ready to get to work. I think both of these guys are huge spark plugs for Oregon. And then kind of wrap the video, I feel like these guys are, what did I say for that point? It was, they're really good at doing different things, but in different ways, so McGee is that, kind of do it all guy, speedy guy, shifty guy. But he can also, I was watching some highlights from him of his playing safety, and he was lighting people up, and, he's not going to shy away from contact. And then kind of flip that with Carwell. He's a big back, and people, look at him maybe more as a bruiser, but he's got some top end speed, and he can burst through the the whole, coming through the offensive line, and he can make some moves and has some shimmy to him and changes direction quite well for a guy of his stature. So that's kind of what I wanted to say as far as, how they complement each other. And even if someone maybe looks at their game and kind of says, well, what Byron does really well, Seven might not be as good at, but he can certainly do that as well. He's talking about how he's up to 180 now. So he's pretty cut too. So he's looking the part physically as well. And he's only going to get in better shape as things go on. And then with Cardwell, he's a bigger back. You look at Seven and he's electric and shifty. Cardwell's got some shift to him as well. So you can see why people are so excited about the pair of freshman running backs that Jim Mastro, Joe Moorhead, and the Ducks have at their disposal on offense. And it certainly looks like big things are coming for them here in Eugene.